Welcome back, everyone, to Let's Talk Business South Carolina. Glad you could be with us, and I'm here with my next guest right now, and that's David Benner. David is the area president for FocusCFO. FocusCFO provides a way for small and medium-sized businesses to get some financial help that they might not otherwise be able to get. Maybe they're too small to hire someone outright, or maybe they just need some project help. And that is called fractional hiring, folks. And here to talk to us about fractional hiring is my friend David Benner. David, how are you, friend?
Good, Rick. Good to see you. Thanks for having me on.
It is good to see you. You joined me several months back, so you haven't been on in a while, but it's good to have you back.
I've enjoyed your programs. A lot of good information.
Good, thank you, buddy. So let's talk fractional hiring. You know, I was reading something before we came on the air. Fractional jobs. I'm reading this. Fractional jobs are up 57% since 2020. And when I saw that, I tell you what I thought of. I thought of COVID. COVID hit in March of 2020. And I think what happened, and you give me your opinion, I think what happened when people started working remotely, it proved that we could work remotely.
Yeah.
It proved that jobs could be accomplished remotely. And I think over the course of these last few years that people have begun to realize that fractional help may be a better way to go than ever before because, we've been doing it to some degree. A business owner may think, my folks have been working remotely already. I can work remotely with a fractional exec. Yes?
I agree with that. And I think it's allowed opportunity for those who may think I need to get to this level before I can have this information or I can have this experience. Not so. They can bring in someone on a fractional basis. And, you think in terms of fractional being time, they're only there a fraction of the time because a lot of these businesses only need a fraction of that time.
Right.
Also, what's nice is they don't have to pay out full salary and cost. They're only paying a fraction of the price.
That's right. And no benefits.
No
benefits. The way that
benefits.
usually works. It's, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Tell me about the types of person. If I were thinking about hiring someone fractionally, one of the first things I would think about is, well, are they qualified? Right? They are working fractionally, so are they working fractionally because they couldn't cut the mustard working a full-time executive position? But as I understand it, you all have folks that are retired and that that kind of fit that mode. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I will. And I'll speak first on the first part of that question, fractional in general. I think you're correct. With anyone, we need to make sure, just like hiring, that we vet accordingly, right? Hire slow, fire fast.
Yeah.
Same in this arena too. And we want to make sure that we bring someone in that fits the bill of what we're looking for. Now, speaking to our model, fractional CFOs, the majority of us either are gray hair like this or chrome or no hair at all.
Yeah.
We're seasoned and we know a thing or two. We've seen a thing or two. And our model is such that they've experienced, but they also collaborate together. We have about 150 CFOs now nationally, and they collaborate with each other. We have 5 that are in the Greenville, Spartanburg upstate area. And they are not only experienced and working together, but they're embedded into the business. And so we try to match up. My role as area president is to work with the businesses, organizations, some nonprofits, to match up and find the correct CFO. 80% of what a CFO is going to do is industry agnostic. 10% may be industry specific. You as the business owner may know that. And then 10% is the chemistry, right? Just like with any business, you want to hire someone when there's good chemistry. So I think you make a good point that you need to make sure that they're capable of the work.
When folks are looking for fractional help today, and let's be clear, there are fractional, whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
You can hire a chief operating officer, a chief marketing officer.
Yes.
You can hire someone for IT, a CIO. So there's all kinds of fractional assistance that is available out there. Do you have a feel for when clients are looking for fractional help, what percent of that is people looking for ongoing help or people looking to lead projects?
It's a good question. There are some that are looking for projects, sometimes maybe a merger and acquisition situations going, and the buyer wants to bring in someone for a period of time, several months. And that's not a large percentage, but that is some. And to truly benefit these companies, whether they're planning to just grow or to exit, usually there's a time element to get the best value and transfer that value from what's in the business to that business owner. So about a 3 to 5 year period. So based on that, I think there's opportunities to businesses to look at it from that perspective.
Right. Do your most clients, what's the average amount of time someone might need a week? You know, I mean, do most of your clients look at a day a week or 2 days a week or 5 days a month? How does that work?
Great question. You hit it right on the head. I would say almost 80% of our active clients is 1 day a week. That's 4 times in a month. You know, you think about that, that's on one hand, that set the expectation, that's really only 26 days in 6 months. So not even a full month. But on the other hand, they're there for the full day. We do some scenarios of 2 days a week. When you get beyond that, it's really not feasible. Cost-wise, you're almost looking at kind of adding up, maybe you need a full-time. You asked a question that matches up with this question too, and I apologize I didn't answer correctly a while ago, but the who's looking for it? It may be those, not just a project or ongoing, maybe they had a CFO retired or getting ready to retire or move into another position, and they need someone in that position for an interim. We've come in those scenarios, and in a lot of cases, we end up staying because they realize, you know, we don't necessarily need to hire that full time. So that 1 day a week is the majority.
Speaking of interim, how often do you have a circumstance where a company is going to have to ditch their CFO that has been with them for a while and they need you to work that interim time, or maybe come in and fix a whole lot of problems that existed because of that prior executive? Is that something you see?
Some.
Not much.
Not much.
Not much.
Not much. A lot of times it's a sound company, but maybe not sound and accurate reporting. Maybe there's not been a compelling reason doing business up to this point has required a sophisticated reporting that a CFO might need to help with. And not just the reporting of looking in the rearview mirror, this is what we did do, but maybe to analyze that from a strategy standpoint. Again, and maybe in a business where they're okay, but they're now needing a different look. You know, what got us from here, where we came from, is a little different than what we need going forward. When we talk with prospects or companies, we try to encourage them, change now is not an indictment on your past. When we make suggestions, please don't hear us say what you should have done, because you've done a good job to get to this point. So it's not as fixing broken things as much as it is, let's get better as we go.
Right. That's good stuff.
And that could be fractional COO, fractional marketing.
That's right.
And you mentioned this a while ago, there's C-level, but then there's also, you know, good management level of HR, fractional services, and we team up with some of those folks and bring in some of the clients, prospects, before they become clients. We may see it might not be the right fit for us, but we want to help them. We might refer in a bookkeeper or a controller or a HR or something.
When I'm hiring someone, I want to make sure that it's the right fit for the team.
Yes.
You know? And so when you're going through an interview process, you can do that. You can bring someone in and you can let them maybe interview other folks on the team to make sure that there's a fit. So if I am hiring fractionally, I would have the exact same concern, not as much, because this person is going to be remote in most circumstances, correct?
Some. We like to do in person, but
Okay.
you're thinking along the same lines as far as they're not there as much.
Right.
Okay.
So it may not be every bit as important as hiring a full-time person, but it is still important.
It is.
And in order to ensure that the executives that you're talking to have the right fit, that means you have to have options.
Yes. Options such as, would I hire this person full-time? Do I need to consider another type of model like this? Someone's asked, Now, that other fractional service, is that a competitor of yours? I actually don't believe so, Rick, because that rising tide helps all ships. Competition is really more business as usual.
Right.
So we welcome that to let's bet this. We want to make it a right fit for them and us.
But I want to be clear. The options that I am referring to are, I want to have options to talk to in the same way that I would interview several possibilities for my job, several candidates. If I need a fractional executive, I want to be able to say, who do you have for me, David? Okay, so I could go
I'm following you.
I could go to John, I could go to Mary, I could go to Frank, right? And so do they have that type of opportunity to find someone within an organization that fits with them?
Absolutely. And a lot of that is helped in my role as the area president, business development. I've met with you 2 or 3 times. I'm understanding your needs. I'm listening to the concerns that you have. I understand your personality makeup. We're talking about leadership and strategy. If I'm doing my job correctly, I've narrowed down to what I think is a good candidate and taken a lot of that off of your plate. That I better interview 5 different ones to see if I can find the right one. We have occasions where we as area presidents may select a CFO that's on the bench or has capacity and it not be a good fit chemistry-wise. Right. In that case, it's known to all parties. You can tell. We'll bring someone else in. Right. So, yeah, they do have that luxury. But hopefully, I've done my job to take a lot of that load off of you, the business owner.
Do you see that there is a sweet spot in terms of company size that are needing fractional assistance?
Yeah, I would
a revenue sweet
size.
Spot.
I think that's where we have to start. I would say maybe 4 or 5 million on the low end annual revenue, up to 30, 40, 50, somewhere in that annual revenue. They're looking to maybe full-time CFO, but in that range. That's a broad range. But I would say, Rick, the next item would be, are they business ready? Business readiness. We could have someone who is a small revenue, but the owner and the business is having compelling reasons that they're ready to listen to an embedded CFO that's going to help them. You could have a 20 million revenue company and an individual who has done it herself, and is just not ready to listen. So, but we would start with the revenue size.
If I am a CEO and I am trying to decide, and I'm not just talking about a CFO, just C-level fractional executives in general. If I am a CEO and I'm trying to decide if I need to spend the money on a fractional exec, and so let's take the opposite approach that I don't already have maybe a full-time CFO.
Okay.
How do I make that decision? Because even if it's only 1 day a week, that's money I'm not already spending. So if someone is having that conversation with you, what's your response to them?
Yeah, it's a good question. A lot of times it's because we've been introduced to them by someone else that's working with them, say an attorney, a banker, a wealth advisor, their CPA, probably have asked questions and there's been identifying of a need, not a position, but a need. And that need may be driven down to operations, where it might be a COO, right? Or it may be, they may be very good at operations themselves, but as they grow, they may need a CEO that's more admin executive. Let's get strategy this way. And then from the financial seat, this may be someone, the banker, say, talking to them about they need funding, they're growing unsustainably here, they don't understand why they don't have profit anymore, and they're asking these questions, and they say, let's bring someone in. So it's usually a need that's been identified, and then we narrow it down to, is this level C-suite fractional the position to help lead that charge?
I'm guessing occasionally the reason you need to look fractionally is because if you have someone to take care of those duties, it gives you more time as a CEO to be maybe sales-minded, revenue-producing-minded.
Absolutely. That is the first low-hanging fruit that these owners see, is that it takes some things off their plate and frees them up to operate in the vein that they're good at, that their passion is in, that they want to do.
Right. I'm going to get you out of here on this, David. Sometimes folks might not know. They know they need financial help. They know that they need help with a financial person, but they might not know exactly what I need. Do I need a bookkeeper? Do I need more of a CPA person? Do I need a low-level person just to handle some reporting, or do I need a CFO? How do you make that determination? And do people sometimes not even know for sure until they have the conversation with you?
Great question, and your last statement is very accurate. And why should they know if they've not had the exposure to it?
Right.
And that is common. A lot of what we do is to listen and educate, maybe refer in what is needed. And that difference in needing, we think of it in two forms. We use an analogy of you and I are sitting in the car. Rick, you own the company. You're sitting in the driver's seat. Your hands are on the wheel. And you're getting information from your bookkeeper, data entry, your controller, telling what's going on, your CPA from a tax standpoint. All those are performance indicators. Looking in the rearview mirror, out the back windshield. What did we do? It's very important information. But you're looking out the windshield and the GPS. You need help analyzing that information. A CFO is more to sit in the passenger seat, not take the wheel from you, not do that legwork, but help you strategy-wise, short range out the windshield, GPS looking long range, and understand what's our profitability. Should we buy this building? Can we grow? What's our cost truly going to be? What revenue stream should we add on? Where are we leaking money? How are we going to add this? Those are the things that a CFO can do. We do a lot of that education.
I absolutely love that analogy. And when I think of it, I think by having someone in that passenger seat, it allows the CEO to make sure that he's not going to crash and that he's going down the road the way he needs to.
Well said.
And keep his mind on it, right?
That's right.
Folks, that is David Benner. He is the area president for FocusCFO, and that concludes another episode of Let's Talk Business South Carolina. That was episode number 30, and we will see you the next time.